Hola amigos, and welcome to another wonderful Spanish class. Today, we're going to look at a verb that once you have mastered will open a whole new world for you. The verb gustar, to like. How are you going to express how much you like things in Latin America if you don't know this verb? The verb gustar is a little tricky for Spanish learners because of its unique structure, but by the end of this lesson, you will know exactly how it works. As mentioned, using the verb gustar is very common in Spanish and means to like. However, the constructions of sentences that express likes or dislikes are very different in Spanish and English. It can't be translated literally. This is because it is not formed like other regular verbs in Spanish. If we had to translate gustar to English, we would say to be pleasing. So instead of saying I like something, we would be saying something is pleasing to me. Therefore, something like me gusta la comida guatemalteca, in English we would say I like Guatemalan food. However, the literal translation is the Guatemalan food is pleasing to me. This means the subject of the phrase is not the pronoun, but the thing or things that are liked. So in this example, Guatemalan food. The verb gustar takes the indirect object pronouns in front of its conjugated form. So, me, te, le, nos, os, les. Remember, an indirect object is the person to or for whom an action is done. Now let's look a bit more at the structure of sentences with gustar. If we look at this sentence in English, we like sweets. We is the subject. Like is the verb. Sweets is the direct object. Now, the translation for this sentence is Nos gustan los dulces. When we break down the structure of the Spanish translation, dulces is the subject of the sentence. Compare that to the English translation, where you can see the subject is we. An important thing to keep in mind is that although dulces is the subject, it doesn't come first in the sentence, it comes after the verb gustar. The indirect object is used because the people are being indirectly affected by the verb. We are not the one performing the action, and instead, something is pleasing to us. Now the verb gustar has to match the thing you like. So in this case, it is many sweets. So use the plural form, which is gustan. The conjugation of the verb gustar is determined by the subject of the sentence. So the person, people, thing, or things we like. This makes it very easy because there are only two possibilities. You conjugate gustar in the third person singular or the third person plural, depending on whether the thing that is pleasing to us is singular or plural. Let's have a look at how gustar is conjugated in the different tenses. So for the present tense, the third person singular is gusta and the third person plural is gustan. For the preterite, it is gustó and gustaron. For the imperfect tense, it is gustaba and gustaban. And finally, for the future tense, it is gustará in the third person singular and gustarán in the third person plural. Now, a common mistake among Spanish learners is not to match the form of gustar with the subject of the sentence, so the thing we like. So for example, we used to like to play football. You could be tempted to say, nos gustaban jugar fútbol, because more than one person likes to play football. However, as the action of playing football is an infinitive verb, so singular, you have to say, nos gustaba jugar fútbol. If only one thing is being liked, then the form of the verb gustar should be singular. It doesn't matter how many people like that particular thing. And vice versa, if many things are being liked, then gustar should always be conjugated in the third person plural, even if one person likes the many things. Les gusta la ciudad. Te gustaron las flores. Le gustaban los libros románticos. Os gustará el restaurante. Look at how the conjugated form of gustar matches the subject of the sentences and not the indirect pronouns. Now, if you don't like something, it is quite straightforward. Just add a no before the indirect object pronoun. So if we look at the examples from before, no les gusta la ciudad. No te gustaron las flores. No les gustaban los libros románticos. No os gustará el restaurante. Very easy, no? Now, when using gustar with people, it can be misunderstood for something else. That is because if you use gustar with a person, it means you find that person attractive. You like them. If you want to say you like someone in a non-attractive way, then you use caer bien. A Javier le gusta Tita. A Javier le cae bien Tita. Notice how the preposition a has also been used in these examples. There are a few scenarios when this has to be used. Let's look at a few examples when you need to use the preposition a with the verb gustar in a sentence. As we saw with this previous example, a Javier le gusta Tita. You always have to use the preposition a at the start of a sentence when you mention the name of the person doing the liking. A Javier. Remember to also include the indirect object pronoun in these types of sentences. Le and les can refer to many different people. As you don't know if it is feminine, you might want to be more specific. A ella le gusta correr. So, like with the names in the previous example, you can include whoever is doing the liking at the start of the sentence after the preposition. If you want to add emphasis or clarity in a sentence, then you also use the preposition a and the preposition pronoun. A mí me gusta. A ti te gusta. A él, ella le gusta. And so on. A mí me gustan las manzanas. The a plus the pronoun simply emphasizes that this is a particular person's opinion. I am stressing that I personally like apples. Gustar isn't the only verb that has this structure, so let's have a look at some of the other ones. Antojar, to crave. Doler, to hurt. Encantar, to love. This is love more in the sense of delight or enchant. Faltar, to lack, to need, to be short, to not have enough, to miss. Fascinar, to fascinate. Importar, to be important. Interesar, to interest. Let's practice with the verb gustar and some other verbs we have seen today. A sentence will appear, and when you see this icon, you have a few seconds to complete them with the correct indirect pronoun and conjugated form of the verb in the correct tense. Let's go. A Cosmo, Le gusta comer sándwiches de jalea con coles de Bruselas. This is a sort of trick question. You use gustar in the third person singular because you are liking the action of eating, which is singular and not the plural sandwiches. A Mónica y a Javier no les interesaban las caricaturas cuando eran jóvenes.
Me encantaron las lombrices en mi cena ayer.
Cosmo, Mónica y Tita os gustarán vuestros regalos. A mí me faltó dinero para comprar el regalo de Javier. ¿Te gustó la clase de hoy? Did you like today's class? I hope so. Anyways, today you have learned about the verb gustar and other verbs similar to gustar. Hasta la vista.